Yeah, you want to move down one?
Nobody's there.
Your hands to yourself, Jim.
Heather, could you change the names? Thank you. Thanks. Thank you.
Trying to get your fingers in there. So, like, the Duke meeting.
Heather, who's on the line? They both are on. Okay.
Jeff Welch will not be. He's
Okay.
there.
All right, everybody ready? Good evening and welcome to the Federal Way City Council meeting for Tuesday, November 18th of 2025. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, welcome. As you can see, we've moved the chairs around a bit. We do have our two of our council members who are appearing remotely, Councilmember Susan Honda and Councilmember Lydia Asefa Dawson, who I believe are at the same conference. Is that right?
Yes, we are.
Very good. Well,
That's correct.
very good. Well, welcome. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. We've got, and Councilmember Walsh is unavailable in his absence is excused. Okay, and then we are here for some very special occasions. You know, we oftentimes in our lives, you know, we have very important people in our lives, whether it's family, people we work with, pillars of the community, and we have changes that occur in our lives. Our son just graduated high school this year and is off to college. We all have these changes that occur. Well, we've got some pretty monumental changes coming to our city council, one of which, actually three of which we're going to honor tonight, at the next meeting we're going to be talking about some other changes and departures. But for tonight, we'll honor three individuals who have served our city so greatly and deserve special recognition. And it's something it's my honor to be able to do this. First, we're going to be doing a key to the city to the Honorable Judge David Larson. We're going to start that first. Then we're going to say thank you for the services of Lawson Bronson, and we'll talk about his service for the past over 20 years. And then, it's hard to believe that Councilmember Paul McDaniel, this will be his last meeting, we'll talk about that. But let's start with, and Judge Larson, if you could approach the podium and I'll say a few words, and maybe we'll do a presentation, and I'm going to open it up to council members. And I want to let everybody know, after the presentations of the three plaques, we're going to be recessing for cake. And Bill, your number one responsibility is don't let me get anywhere near the cake, please. But anyway, Pam did a really good job, so it looks really good. With that, Your Honor, like I said, it's very difficult to sort of circle square here and realize that after all these years you're going to be retiring. And I'm going to read this real quick, but I want to tell a little personal anecdote, and then we'll have an opportunity for you to speak. So again, today we're going to be honoring Judge Larson with a key to the city, presented by myself. And Judge Larson has lived in the city of Federal Way since 1967 and served on the municipal court as a judge since 2008. My goodness, a long time. He was elected by the people of Federal Way 4 times. Before joining the court, he served as president of the Federal Way School Board, a member of the city's Human Services Commission, and as the city's first chair of the city's Board of Ethics. He was a longtime member of the Kiwanis Club of Federal Way, and I'm going to tell that story in just a few minutes, and founded the Action Club of Federal Way in 2011, which is a Kiwanis-based service club for adults with developmental disabilities. And he just did such a phenomenal job and just really led with his heart, really touching. He helped teach street law students. Street law is a class at law school where you teach high school students practical law. Todd Beamer High School in Federal Way beginning in 2009, and frequently appears in other classrooms at all grade levels throughout the South Puget Sound. High school students from around the state come to Federal Way to learn from him. Well, so does the mayor, but we all do. He was right, Your Honor? He was a 2014 recipient of the Washington Judges Foundation Judge William Nevins Award, which is given to judges with a long-term commitment to youth education and public understanding of the law. He was also selected as Federal Way's Best Community Leader in 2022. A longtime advocate of education, he served as a faculty member for our state's Judicial College, teaching new judges from around the state from 2010 to 2020. Just a phenomenal record of service. Now, it's been almost 3 decades since I met Judge Larson, and many here on the dais and in the community have known Judge Larson for many decades. When we talked about Kiwanis, the very first time I ever met Judge Larson, we were both coming into Kiwanis at the same meeting. We had the same mentor, this really very, very, I remember, was it Bill Short?
Yep.
Who was a very interesting man and I actually went by his house not long ago over the summer where he used to live. He's passed away since then. But he was a really colorful character, and he used to recruit people to come to Kiwanis and join Kiwanis. Well, what I didn't know is I was a project of his, and so was Judge Larson, and Judge Larson and I got sworn in on the same day with the Kiwanis Club. Back when they used to have it at the Golden Spoon or whatever it was called back then. And I just remember being in that room and thinking, man, he's a really big guy, and he must have been a football player. But then I heard about the drag racing, and I heard about him being a football player at Federal Way High School, and I heard so much, and we have gotten to know each other so well over the years. And is just a phenomenal attorney in our community, and you've just done so many amazing historic things in our court. And when our court, we used to have an appointed judge, and then the council decided we were going to have elected judges, and we went through some early challenges and ups and downs in the municipal court. And Judge Larson when he came, he brought such a calm and such professionalism to our court that is literally a model for the entire state. On behalf of the community of Federal Way, I want to say, Your Honor, thank you. And you are entitled to the key of the city of Federal Way.
Thank you. Oh, we gotta do that. Oh, yeah. Take shake salute. Thank you.
All right, Your Honor, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, Jack Dovey was mayor when I was appointed, as I recall. Linda was one of my champions to be on the court. I knew something was wrong when I hung up and my phone started smoking like Mission Impossible because it was a pretty tough time. But I'm actually grateful to you. You gave me a chance to provide meaning and purpose for myself, my family, and sometimes it was tough because it was tough times during that first year and a half. But every minute that I've been there has been worth it. It's made me a better person. And I can't express my gratitude enough, again, for the confidence you had in me then. And I'm very much appreciative of that. My favorite poem is by Lou Holtz. I made it gender neutral. I saw some people in my hometown, I saw some people tearing a building down. With a heave and a hoe and a mighty yell, they swung a beam and the sidewall fell. I asked the foreman, are these people skilled, the type of people you'd want to build? The foreman answered, no indeed, common labor's all I need. For I can tear down in a day or two what it took a builder years to do. As I slowly walked away, I asked, what role will I play? Will I be the one that goes around foolishly tearing down? Or will I be the one that builds with care and hope that others would be glad I was there? I'm glad I was there. And this is very much appreciated, and I can't tell you how much gratitude I have. So I'm at a loss for words, which I know a lot of people might not believe, but I am. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Council President.
Believe it or not, Dave is quite a bit younger than I am. Call him Sonny, really. His father was a friend of mine. He and Kiwanis donated the Constitution and Declaration that is behind him now, which I think is very appropriate for our council chambers. And I think that there are many, many people in our community, many young people in our community, very happy that you were their judge when they were in your court and had to face the consequences of their actions. And so thank you for your mentorship program, and thank you for being a blessing in our community. And most of all, just thank you for being you. And I expect that you're going to be back here because I'm going to be calling you and saying, what do I do now?
Well, my cemetery site's at Gethsemane.
Oh,
so-
yeah, real.
That's a long time from now.
Yes. So, and Bill Short also was one of my recruiters. So it's kind of funny what you can do in your community when you start saying, gee, I just want to make a change. And I went to Seattle University to work on a master's in public administration many years ago. And they said to me, one of the people said to me, you got to find a star and hitch your wagon to a star. And I looked around and I couldn't find one. So I started making them. So thank you for being one of my stars.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Councilmember McDaniel.
Yeah. I don't know if many people know, but I do have the privilege of calling my uncle. So I appreciate the time and the conversations we've had. I don't think most people know that over the Easters and the holiday seasons, me and him would go back and forth and argue about stuff. He would educate me on what the changes that need to be done in the judicial, the jail system, and the police areas in order to get a better situation. And I remember one day he called me a classical liberal, and I was so mad. I went home and looked it up and realized, damn it, he was right. I am. So I appreciate the banter back and forth and the knowledge you passed on. And there are some ideas you have that I will carry forward too. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Dovey, and then Councilmember Tran, then Councilmember Sapadasa.
Yeah, I just want to comment. I mean, Dave's got me beat by 1 year moving to Federal Way. He got here in '67, but Dave alluded to 2008 when I was mayor, and many of you weren't here, but things were not in crisis mode, but almost, or maybe were. And I just remember going down and sitting down with Dave and figuring out how to get the court working. And he was very gracious and ready for a challenge. And I never, as the mayor at that time and on the council, never had to think about it after that again. So it was great. He's the one who calmed everything down and put everything back together. And we all know Bill Short, and I was recruited by him also. So he was quite the Kiwanis recruiter.
He was a knife
And
salesman.
he was a great mentor to all of us. So then thank you for your service and all you've done there.
Appreciate it.
I think you have the biggest Kiwanis pin of anybody in Kiwanis. You know, when I see it, it's like about this big around from all the
Yeah.
things that you've done and accomplished.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Councilmember. And when you were mayor in 2008, it was a very difficult time. We, because of the budget, because of a number of things, we had to lay off quite a number of people, and it was a very difficult process. And Mayor Dovey led us through that, and getting you on board as a judge was a key moment. Councilmember Tran?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Your Honor, I just want you to know that it has been honor for my wife and I for the last 8 years getting to know you. Thank you for everything you have done to this community, and happy retirement. And if you ever need advice on your travel plan, you can call me up.
Okay, I appreciate that. I love road trips. So.
All right, Councilmember Sapadasa.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Judge, for your service and for all our interactions and conversations. My most memorable
Oh. Whoop. Literally, Lydia, we kind of lost you a bit.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Now we can.
Okay. one moment. Oh, shoot, one moment. Is this better?
It is, yeah.
Okay, so I first met Judge Larson when my son, before I became a council member, but my son got a camera ticket. And I was sitting there in the courtroom. He called him up and he kind of told him that he shouldn't have done what he did was a camera. He shouldn't have been speeding in a school zone, I believe. And he says, well, I'm going to reduce your fees and it's going to be whatever the amount was. And my son turned around and looked at me. And I remember him saying, don't look at mom. This is yours and you're going to pay for it. And I really appreciate it. I'm sure that was a big lesson for him. He's gotten a couple more tickets, same problem. So I don't know if he learned his lesson, but I really appreciated your interaction with him and trying to teach him, how to be a good citizen. And I also wanted to thank you for actually allowing me for breaking rank and having Judge McCullough swear me in here in Federal Way at our chamber. And it's no disrespect to you, and you and I have had this conversation, and I just appreciate your grace. And also with the court system, and now I don't know what it's called. Is it the circular? Help me with this one. The program that you had started with the courts.
Community court,
What is it?
community court.
The community court, but no, the other one where you had the diagram and.
Oh, the sequential intercept model and
Thank you.
regional
The
resource
intercept
networks
model.
people gloss over when, yeah.
The intercept model, yes. And hopefully, that would still be something that could be implemented and really followed through and used, because I think it's really a helpful system for the courts. So I really just wanted to say thank you for everything, and hopefully you'll be around and we'll bump into each other occasionally at events and activities. And so
I appreciate
thank
it.
you for all your service.
Ironically, I'm going to be working with Policy Research Associates doing sequential intercept mapping and programs throughout the country. So that's when I retire.
Yeah, well, looking forward to hearing more about it then.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Councilmember Honda,
Thank you. Can you hear me?
we can.
Thank you, Judge Larson. I'm used to calling you something else, but I'll call you in chambers, Judge Larson. And you've been my neighbor for a long time, and I appreciate all you've done. And for all of those on the dais who mentioned Kiwanis, you're always welcome to come back. We meet every Wednesday, 11:30 to 1 at the Mexican restaurant in Twin Lakes, and we'd love to have you all come back. But
And-
thanks, Judge. Have a great retirement. You deserve
Thank you.
it.
Thank you. And Susan avoided, or Councilmember Honda avoided getting fined by mentioning Kiwanis. That's the tradition.
Can you tell them your two maxims? I want people to hear it about,
So I run a repair shop, not a junkyard, because, and I tell people that the idea is to make your life better when you leave than when you came in. And no repeat customers, and the thing I've been using last year or so, or 2 years, is who do you want to control your life, you or me? And to inspire people to get better control of their own lives so that I don't have control over it. But accountability is a big deal, but at the same time, it's understanding trying to look through the eyes of the persons in front of me and try to inspire them. One of my other crazy mottos is, it's always better to inspire than it is to require. And I want it to be them deciding for themselves that they want a better life rather than me imposing it on them.
these are good, man, I got to use these. These are really good. I quote these all the time, Your Honor, about, the repair shop, just really poignant. Your Honor, would you like to introduce your family members that are here?
Sure. You want to come up or do it? Okay. So I have my son. Now, there's no pride or anything. But my one son, Andrew, my oldest, is a police officer, actually Corporal Larson, and he's been a police officer for 12 years, and then a reserve deputy for Kittitas County for 2 before that, so 14 years. My other son, Joshua, is a internal medicine physician. He's been board certified for about a year. He was graduated Beamer in 2012 and just got board certified last year, very dedicated to his education. And then my daughter-in-law, Crystal, who works for KitCom over in Ellensburg in Kittitas County, and And then my granddaughter Addison as a junior at Ellensburg High School. My grandson Joe, where's Joe? Is he? Grandson Joe, there he is. My granddaughter Ellie, and then my granddaughter Genevieve, and then Debbie, we spent half our life together, Debbie. So
Oh, that's good. Bill, let's give him a big round of applause. Your Honor, could you, one last thing, could you tell them about the shadow box that we're going to be in here? I want people, there's something that's going to be in our council chambers moving forward, and would you like to explain what that's going to be?
sure, it's a robe I wore for 15 years, and I wore it stubbornly, would not replace it even though it was getting worn out. Holes in the elbows, the front of it's worn out from my belly on the bench. The inside of it was all ripped up. And I refuse to replace it out of solidarity with taxpayers and the people I see in court who, the vast majority of the defendants are in poverty, and then the victims also are in poverty, at least 95%. And finally replaced it after the cost of repair was going to exceed the cost of replacing it. And so the robe belongs to the city, but I'm donating the shadow box because I'm very much a person that believes that, one time some students asked, when did you feel closest to your position? And with a bunch of city government officials. And when it got to me, I said, I was in the back of the line at chili cook-off. And a person said, hey, Judge, how you doing? And then they walked away. And person behind me said, hey, you're a judge, you're cut up in front of the line. And I said, actually, when I don't have my robe on, I'm like anybody else. And the reason I told the high school students that story is because my number one job, my position is citizen. I play a role as a judge. I have a responsibility, not power. I'm a servant, not a master. And that's what, hopefully, the symbolism of that gift of the shadow box with the plaque will bestow it on people.
Your Honor, thank you so much for your service to our community. Let's give him a big round.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, the next individual that we're going to be honoring is Lawson Bronson. Lawson, come on up. Lawson is a real pillar of the community, a Navy veteran. We talk about this all the time, his experience in the Navy nuclear program. But one of the things that has really just been a tremendous service to our community is his over 20 years of service on the Planning Commission for the City of Federal Way, much of it as chair. And the Planning Commission is really, before anything, the zoning hits the dais here and before it gets to the committee, it comes to a group of dedicated citizens who come together and really plan for the future of what we want our community to look like. And Lawson Bronson has been at the very forefront of planning our community. And we've got a very beautiful plaque for Lawson today. I'll come down here in just a moment, and we'll have an opportunity for Lawson to say a few words. But it says, City of Federal Way, presented to Lawson Bronson by Mayor Jim Farrell and the entire City Council, in appreciation for your 20 years of dedicated service and leadership on the Planning Commission for the City of Federal Way. Thank you for your service, November 18th, 2025. Thank you, sir.
Well, I'm terribly honored that you think I've contributed that much to this city. It's been my pleasure, but you can blame it on Linda. She's the one that invited me to apply for the job. And
And I wouldn't let him go. 20 years.
yes. what can I say? We've lived in Federal Way since 1973, when I got out of grad school and got hired by a shipyard down in Tacoma, and this is where we found home, and it's been here. It's where we raised our kids. They all went to school here. My wife is sitting over here, one of my grandsons. My daughter is back there. The others are scattered all over. I don't know what other I can say other than I'm terribly honored that you feel that I've done something that's unusual. It's what I was raised by my parents to contribute, and it's been my pleasure. Just a couple of things. When we moved here, I was part of one of those that started one of the Boy Scout troops here in the city, and most of my professional time has been spent in the Port of Tacoma, but 2 shipyards, and I had my own business down there. But we were so fortunate that we have become a city, and to the city council, the way you have governed us and what you've done in this city, you can tell when you leave Federal Way and go into Tacoma, the roads just go crazy. I don't know what else to say other than thank you. I'm terribly honored that you feel that way about it.
Thank you, Lawson. And, Lawson goes by the nickname Bud, and actually I was really, torn whether I should put Bud on there. But oftentimes he stops by my office and gives me updates on what's happening at the port. And really a very interesting observation that Lawson has made over the years is that we tend to be so centric, or Seattle-centric, and looking north. But the port that is right next to us happens to be at the Port of Tacoma, and really our orientation needs to be centered in both directions, and oftentimes should be focused on the Pierce County and that port, because so much is happening there. It has such an impact on our economy. And Bud will come by the office routinely and give me the regular updates, and then I get him to tell me about his experience in the Navy, which is always really fun. Sir, on behalf of a very grateful city, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember McDaniel is next. Councilmember, let's go down to the dais, and I'll talk from there, and then we'll turn it over to you. All right, Councilmember McDaniel, I can't believe it's been 2.5 years. I can't believe I can't believe it's been 2.5 years since you've been appointed, and I just want to tell you what a pleasure it's been to work with you. One of the things is, let me read the plaque, and then I'll tell my story, and I got to tell you something funny too. City of Federal Way, centered on opportunity, presented to Paul McDaniel, City Council member from June 26th of 2023 to November 25th, 2025, in recognition of your dedication and support to the City of Federal Way and its citizens. Thank you for your service. And so, here, I'll give this to you now. But let me just say that I think Councilmember McDaniel has such great ideas and such a unique way of looking at things. You've made me a better mayor. The funny thing I was going to tell you is one of the things that Councilmember McDaniel likes to say all the time is metal sharpens metal. And at first I kind of chuckled at it, but I've been driving around thinking about that concept. The concept of that sometimes opposition to your thought, good conversation and intellectual engagement, or even almost on any level, that makes us sharper. It makes us better to engage on the issues intellectually. And I have to tell you, I have never, in all of my years in city government, seen anybody as dedicated to the budget process and the details of the budget process and caring about every dollar that we spend at the City of Federal Way. And so the funny thing was, as soon as I saw Pam, and Pam helped with all the plaques today and made sure we had the cake, and thank you, Pam, for all your work on this to make sure everything was perfect. But as soon as she was about ready to go get the plaques, I'm like, oh my God, we should have put metal sharpens metal on the plaque. But just know that when I think of you, I will think of the hard work that you put in and the intellectual curiosity and the intellectual honesty that you brought to the job.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Would you like to say a few?
Yeah, I'll make it brief because I have time later. I just want to say thanks, you guys taking a chance on me. I am not the usual cookie cutter person who comes up here. I told you when you first picked me that I'm a common man with an uncommon mind, and I think I've shown you guys that. I will always grind, and it's iron sharpens iron.
Thank you.
We'll get that one good. So, but I will always be willing to help the city. I do have some ideas, and I'll present some of those later on. But I just want to let you guys know I appreciate you guys giving me the chance, and I will be on the outside continuing to try to help out. Thank you.
Thank
That's all
you.
you guys.
So Pam, it's a good thing we didn't put that on the plaque because it would have been wrong. Iron, iron sharpens iron. All right. Council President, do you want to say a few words?
Oh, we're very happy to have had you. Sometimes we may have thought differently. You kept us on our toes, especially during budget discussions and finance meetings, and thank you very much for willing to share your expertise with us. And thank you for your service in the military. That was
Yes.
very, very special, and we're proud to have had you serve in this capacity. Thank you.
Yeah. That honest dialogue is what we need so much in our community and in our nation, to the ability to argue, to clash with idea that's the core of the concept of this nation, of being able to disagree and engage intellectually, but to do so in a constructive manner. And so I appreciate that.
That's all we care about.
Yep, exactly. All right, who's in for cake? Bill, I set up a perimeter. You guys, why don't we've got right now 7:02. Why don't we say 7:15, we'll reconvene, and we'll reconvene our meeting at that time. Once again, thank you to Judge Larson, thank you Lawson Bronson, and thank you Councilmember McDaniel. We will be in recess until 7:15 for cake and refreshments. Thank you, everybody. Your Honor, the gavel works. It's amazing how quiet it gets. Okay. And Heather, do we have our two council members remotely still? Okay, very good. I just didn't see them on the screen. Okay, sounds good. Okay, I'll reconvene the meeting at this time. Your Honor, thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Bronson, and also thank you, council member. Okay, now we are on to Mayor's Emerging Issues and Report, and we have quite a bit going on. As you could see right there, that was the jersey that we had for the unveiling, which I'll talk about in a few moments, for the FIFA kickoff, the Kicking It kickoff. So 26 is going to be a big year. Okay, so that was what I was just referring to. That's the Kicking It Federal Way Festival unveiling. That was last Friday. Several council members were there. The Federal Way Arts Coalition was there. And just a phenomenal job, John Hutton and his team, and our Economic Development Director, Meredith. Really a great community event. How many people do you think we had there, Ben?
I think with staff it was about 120 to 130.
Yeah, it was great, and they had all the lights, sort of dimmed to the green and the blue, and the local soccer colors, and the pack looked beautiful. The food was great, but it was a great opportunity for us to kick off what's going to be a big deal. Is because we've got the World Cup coming this coming year, and it's just in time for the light rails, just in time for that. And this is really about, we're going to be able, over the course of 3 days, the 19th of June, the 20th, and the 21st, is going to be the 3-day festival in which we're going to be, people are going to be getting on the trains from Federal Way, but if they don't have tickets or they want to just see the games locally, you can come to the Performing Arts and Event Center and see the World Cup games, one inside the theater for the ones that are local, and then we're going to have 2 other screens for the games around other parts of North America. So it's going to be a really big deal. Federal Way is going to be a big part of it. All right, next. Okay, then we had Paint the Plow on November 6th. And we had the Boys and Girls Club, but they had, normally you guys, there's the younger group, and that's usually where that's at on 8th Avenue over there by St. Vincent's Church. It's over there where the Boys and Girls Club is. And then we would go over to the other location at the Teen Center, the Boys and Girls Teen Center by Truman High School. This year they brought both groups together, and the kids and then the older kids, and they painted plows. But the theme of this year, just making sure their safety, and so these are actual snow plows that are going to be operating during the snowy times, and they've been decorated as per tradition by our local Boys and Girls Club. It's great. They do a great job. And thank you, EJ, and your entire team for that. Okay. Then we had Flag and Veterans Day celebration. Thank you very much to the Federal Way Seroptimus, and they did a fantastic job. And we are pictured there, and they just did a very nice event. We had great speakers, talked about Veterans Day and Flag Day. Flag Day is normally in June, but they combined the events, and was over there at the King County Aquatic Pool Center, and good crowd, good music and performances, and just a really nice time. And thank you to the Federal Way Seroptimist. Our own Councilmember Susan Honda played a big role, as did many other individuals that are part of the Seroptimist. Okay, as you can see there, I am on, we have a new King County executive-elect, Gurmai Zalaye, and I've been asked by Gurmai to be on his transition team. That's me talking with the mayor of Lake Forest Park. We had an opportunity. They actually, this was down in Seattle last Friday, and they had quite a number of people from, there's probably about, I'd say maybe 80 people on the transition team at least, from all areas of all corners of King County. There's 2.3 million people in King County. So you had some mayors, folks in nonprofits and every sector. In fact, the president of Microsoft was one of the co-chairs. Former Former Seahawk Doug Baldwin was one of the individuals, as was Katie Garrow, which I believe is the head of MLK, Martin Luther King Labor Council. And you just imagine every facet of King County public life was represented. They broke us up into 4 different groups. My subgroup was Breaking the Cycle, talking about addressing homelessness. And some of the people we had on there were really very high-profile folks. One was the former King County deputy executive, now runs the Washington Roundtable, the CEO of the main hospital in town, Harborview Medical Center, as well as all kinds of nonprofits and government. And so we're working, these meetings will be ongoing, and we'll be able to provide a transition paper and report to the new executive probably the first week or the second week of December, as he really hits the ground running. One of the things that's important to note with our King County executive is because Shannon, the current King County executive, was appointed upon the certification of the election by Girmay. He will be sworn in immediately on November 25th as our new King County executive. So I was honored to be part of that, and it was really actually very fascinating to hear from every corner of the county and some very prominent people in our community. So I was honored to be a part of that. And I'll keep you posted on how that goes. Okay, then we had just yesterday, we had the legislative town hall meeting at Federal Way High School, and that was great to hear from. We had 2 of our legislators. The other had an important family event they had to attend. We had our senator and another state representative, Jamila Taylor, that were present. Again, Federal Way High School. A lot of questions about issues of the day, and it was good to be there and hear what our legislators' thoughts are on these numerous issues. Next. Just yesterday as well, it was a busy day yesterday, our council president, Linda Kochmar, joined me as we've mentioned several times, it's within my authority without asking council for authorization to approve up to $20,000 of an expenditure. And for both the Multi-Service Center Food Bank, and they're pictured up above, and the Federal Way Senior Center received $20,000 toward their 2 food banks. And that really, with the food insecurity concerns around the nation and especially locally here, they were both, very grateful. And thank you, Council President, for attending. Shelley Perea down at the bottom, and I've known Shelley for a long time. Kristen York and Stephen Curry, who runs the food bank with the Multi-Service Center, and they just do such important work as a lifeline for our community, especially when it starts getting colder, especially as we enter this holiday season. There's a lot of food insecurity out there. We're actually running here at City Hall a food drive, and if you've got extra cans around, bring them to City Hall. We'll take care of them, and we'll get them up to our food banks, or just give directly to the food bank. I have to tell you, the Multi-Service Center Food Bank location up north off of Pack Highway and 276 is really a very beautiful space, and is really they're really doing great things there. So. And the Federal Way Senior Center it's over there east of the freeway off Military Road, and I think it's is it 362nd? Just west of a Military Road, and they just do such phenomenal work out there, just outside the city limits, but they're really part of Federal Way. Okay, next. Upcoming community events, we got the clothing swap at the South King Tool Library, November 22nd. That's actually over there at the Tool Library where the Masonic Lodge is. If anybody has any questions, just reach out. We can, or you can always just Google Tool Library and you can find it. We've got the Holiday Fest at the PAC on the Performing Arts and Events Center. It's a festival, November 29th. We also have the free Upcycle Terrarium Gifts Workshop on December 4th. And the information's right there. It's Thursday, December 4th, 4:30 to 6:30 at the South King County Tool Library. Boy, they do great work there. Upcoming community events. This is going to be a big one. We've got the Federal Way Link Extension grand opening, history in the making, on December 6th. The train is coming in, and it's not only on time, it's early. We're going to be, it really is, this is what we refer to as 100-year infrastructure. This train is really going to connect us with the rest of the county and really provide a tremendous source of economic development. I'm going to be interviewed at King 5 tomorrow about this and what it means for our downtown, what it means for housing, and really how really the face of Federal Way, or the dynamics of Federal Way, especially its downtown, are changing. So that's going to be December 6th, right around, I think we'll probably have the ribbon cutting around 10 a.m., but our King County Councilman Pete von Reichbauer and I are going to be working on the details, and we'll make sure we get that word out about final details. But that is a big deal for our community. So it's right down there at the light rail station, and I'd get there about 9:30, and there's probably going to be a reception at the PAC before that. Okay, then we've got the Jingle Bell Brunch at the Federal Way Community Center, also on December 6th, and that's always a great deal. It's at the community center, starts at 10 to 11:30, and they always do a great job. And then we also, later that same day, tree lighting ceremony at Town Square Park. I get there at about 4. We'll light the tree at about 5, and it's John and I are going to have. I'm sure you guys have heard the story about when we first started doing this. When we flipped the switch, the lights didn't go on exactly on time, and so we've got it all worked out. We're going completely analog, and John's going to be back behind the tree just connecting. Anyway, we'll figure it out. The lights are going to come on, but I'd get there. I'd be there by 5 because the Clauses are coming to town, and on a South King fire truck, and they're going to be. My understanding is that this year the cocoa is going to be piping hot, along with cookies, and it's always a great time to come together. So. And it's great student performances as well. So the past years, we've had over 500 people there. So hope you can make it. Usual, like I said, great performances. And is that it? Okay, and then we'll talk about the legislative agenda process. Bill Vedino, and Bill, would you go ahead and, the floor is yours.
Sure. Mayor, council president, council members. Let's see, how do I bring this up here? Is there a mouse? Okay, I've got the main screen here. How do I get the PowerPoint up here? Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, this is sort of a preview. This is the beginning of the process. And what we're going to talk about today is where we have been in the past, where we can start looking, but really we have 2 weeks for then you folks to have an extensive deliberation at the December meeting in lieu of what's coming up next. And this is not moving. There we go. So the timeline is, we're introducing the draft today. You've got them at the dais. You all have copies of it. We'll have copies for you all as you leave. It'll be available on the public record. And then in the next 2 weeks, there'll be a discussion about other items, and I know there's items that some of you want to also introduce to this as well. And then, of course, then the ratification on December 2nd. If we're to that point, it could continue up to the legislative breakfast. And then, of course, on the 10th, we'll have the legislative breakfast, and we'll share and discuss with our legislators. Okay, here we go again. It's not advancing. Oh, this clicker? Okay, there we go. I'm a 20th century technology person, so. Number one priority out of the gate, and that's restrictions upon sex offenders post-supervision. And you and the public will see that we need to take care of this kind of situation, especially when they are in the proximity of parks, schools, childcares, and other areas where citizens are in need. And so to paraphrase, we're going to work on that. We need reasonable and tailored restrictions. And so basically, we have a proposal. It's up there on the screen now of what should happen after July 1, 2026. And I know the mayor has some thoughts on this too, as he and I and our 2 legislative consultants were crafting this. So.
Okay.
Then up next, from last year, for a cost of $82,000 is from our Colonel Pelly, is the Emergency Operations Center, the upgrading of that, and you can see the details about that, and it'll be a great part of the emergency management performance grant, but also this will be our piece of it, hopefully with some state help. Then, as in past years, we've got our 4 top transportation pieces, and number 1, it's the roundabout. And we have all these sources you'll see at the bottom of the slide, or in the next slide after this, that have contributed. We need $1 more million for the state to complete this project. It's now being looked at as sort of evaluation. And during the luncheon and next week even, more questions, E.J. Walsh will be able to talk about that. Number 2, of course, the City Center SS project to improve access from the city center, especially with light rail coming in. And that is a $100 million ask, as it has in the past. Number 3 is the traffic capacity in downtown Federal Way to help find ways to take care of limited ways to disperse traffic. And that is a $5 million ask, as it has been there for the last few years for 312th. It also has some projects that will work for Steel Lake Park, Truman, and other places along 312th. So, and then, of course, number 4 is the improvements to Southwest 336 to 340th, the corridor. That's sort of a project that's not only Federal Way, but also our neighbors over there on the other side of the border, Browns Point area, et cetera, et cetera. And we will continue to soldier on with that project with our legislatures. Yes, it's going to be a tough year. It's mid-biennium, but we've got to keep it in front of them, and that's a $20 million project. And then, of course, in 2 weeks, the legislative breakfast. You're all invited, and 7:30 to 9:30 a.m. And with that, any preliminary discussion about how we can go forward and work on adding items to this agenda in the next 2 weeks.
All right, council, any questions? Again, I can't see our council members. They were on the screen. There they are. Okay. Council members, any questions? Okay. All right. And so, Councilmember Dovey?
I do have one question, and maybe you're going to answer it. Is there a way to add other things to this? Is
Yep.
that what you're going to talk about now?
Yeah, please.
Well, we were at the meeting the other night at Federal Way High School. Many of us were there, and our legislators talked about 3 critical things: affordable housing, childcare, and disabled housing. That's what I took away from the 3 of them as they talked. And it seems to me if we're going to embark on affordable housing for purchase and different things like that, we might want to add something along those lines, because it hits exactly what our senator and our representative said that were their most important things: childcare, affordable housing, and housing for disabled. So it seems to me we might want to line up with what they talked about at Federal Way High School, or add something like that.
Okay. Council, any thoughts on that? And what we can do is reach out to our legislators. Bill, did you capture that?
I got it.
To be able to reach out to Jim Hedrick and Luke Esser, our 2 city lobbyists. Councilmember McDaniel, do you have anything?
Yeah, I'm going to just piggyback on that one. I think those 2 are probably the strongest things the city has worked on, the council's worked on, and we've actually seen some pretty decent things on childcare.
Oh, sorry, thought it was on. No, I was just saying, I was piggybacking on what you're saying. I think housing is probably something that council has worked a lot on, and so is childcare. It's one of the things we've seen probably best return on investment in economic development. So I think adding those 2 on there should give us a strong request when we go up to them, and hopefully we can get at least something out of them on that one. So I agree with that, putting those on there.
Okay, great.
I'll do it.
All right, thank you. Council members, anything else in regard to, and Bill, you've got that to be able to ask them how we could fashion that
Yep, tomorrow morning,
as an
yep.
ask? And, because obviously those are their priorities. I think that's wise. If that's what they're working on, let's make sure it works for us too. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
So this was the preview. We're going to be in, we can't have non-quorum, we can't have anything more than non-quorum communications between now and the next council meeting. So we'll talk individually with the council members or in smaller groups, and then we'll bring it back. So that's what that means about discussions between now and the city council, the next city council meeting, the last of the year. And so we'll bring it up for that. And hopefully we'll have our city lobbyist here at the time as well. Okay, all right, thank you very much. Okay, now we are on to the council committee and regional committee reports. Our Parks chair is absent tonight. Did anybody want to, or we could skip that?
There's no meeting.
Okay, there was no meeting. Land use and transportation, Councilmember Dovey?
Yeah, just a couple things. Our next meeting is going to be December 1 at 5 p.m. here in the council chambers, be the last land use meeting of the year. Later on the consent agenda, there's an item I that has been going through land use for, I think we've been working on this type of thing for a year now. And I'm going to pull that so I can discuss it a little bit before we vote on it. And of course, I'm a strong proponent that we vote yes and move it forward. But that's pretty much what I have for land use. I've got some cleanup things and some projects we need to get voted on before the end of the year, but other than that, and I would make another mention, when we go to item I, we think about housing, affordable housing, and Bronson being 20 years on land use. I mean, these are all things that he worked on for eons. They're finally, after all this time, coming through to the council to vote on some of them, and affordable housing is the biggest hot button I hope this council works on next year, or one of the big hot buttons.
Very good. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Also, I did want to mention, before I say anything else, we have our two presumptive council member elects. There'll be council member elects once the certification is finalized. But we've got Melissa Hamilton, our presumptive council member elect, and soon to be council member Martin Moore. So let's give them a big round of applause. Welcome. Councilmember Moore will be sworn in upon certification on the 25th and will be present at the next city council meeting because of the prior appointment. And then councilmember-elect, presumptively, Melissa Hamilton will be sworn in January. Okay, along with Councilmember Les Sessoms. Thank you. Okay, so now we are on to Finance, Economic Development, and Regional Affairs Committee. Councilmember Tran.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, we only have one feedback meeting left for 2025, and that's going to be on November 25th at 5 p.m. in this room. I also want to point out that Councilmember Palmer Daniel and I will be at that meeting. That is our last meeting as well. So there will be some cakes there, right, Councilmember?
That's right. That's right. That's right.
You are invited.
And Councilmember Dovey. So
Thank you.
you guys got to figure out whether you want chocolate or vanilla, and I would, we'll figure that out. It's the biggest decision you're going to make that night. So, okay, thank you very much. Okay, Lodging Tax Advisory Committee, Councilmember Assefa Dawson.
Thank you, Mayor, and for cake choice, I'd say let's have both kinds.
Yeah, that's right.
Or multiple, actually. With that, so there are two, hopefully three applicants interviewing on December 2nd at our meeting to fill the vacant seats on LTAC. And we already have 3 TEG applications that are going to be reviewed for 2026. And so we're going to be discussing strategy and application scoring metric forms and updating all the forms at our upcoming meeting. And then we also had an improvement in tracking overnight rooms for hotels. One of the questions that have been asked is how do they track, or do the hotels have a system of tracking their bed nights used? And so they're gonna, that's also gonna be something we're gonna talk about. Our next meeting is gonna be on December 9th, and that's it on my report. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, Regional Committees report, Councilmember Honda.
Thank you. Councilmember Assefa Dawson and I are at a conference, the National Foundation of Women Legislators annual conference, and elected women from around the country are here. We've been here since the conference started on Sunday and ends tomorrow, and we've learned a lot. So the Public Issues Committee, or the PIC, met last Wednesday. We had a discussion on state and county legislative priorities and voted those on to the SCA board. We also had a briefing on transit safety and security. The most interesting discussion was King County Seattle Board of Health was present, and they discussed the unapproved food vendors, and I spoke about the ones we have here in Federal Way. What was interesting is that, they're not going to come down to South King County to check these things out on a weekend or at night, but they did say when I had some questions, that if we had an ordinance in Federal Way that talked about unapproved food vendors that our police then could cite and stop the food vendors from participating without permits. So I don't know if we have an ordinance, but if we don't, we should create one. They also suggested that we try to find out where the kitchen is, where the unapproved food vendors are making their food, because that's really important for food safety. And they will come down and close those kitchens down if they're not approved. I have some updates from AWC. City Action Days are January 21 and 22nd, and we can register now to do that. And on December 2nd, there will be a Zoom meeting to discuss the 2026 legislative session priorities from noon to 1:15, and you can register now for that. From the Senior Commission, the date for the Senior Resource Fair is Tuesday, May 12th at the Performing Arts and Events Center. We are expecting over 70 vendors again this year. We are still accepting nominations for the Senior Advisory Commission Santa for Seniors Outreach. Please contact Amy in the council office as soon as possible if you have any nominations. And then on Wednesday, December 17th at 11:30 at the Community Center, the Senior Commission Connection event, we'll be having cocoa, candy canes, and cookie decorating for the holidays. And all seniors are invited. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Council President Kochmar.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I just want to reiterate, November 22nd, the clothing swap at the South King Tool Library. That's located at 1700 South 340th Place. It's the old Masonic Hall. They're taking in clothing that would be appropriate for the season, so it'd be like fall and winter clothing. And you can come and swap. You don't have to bring any. You can just come and choose clothing, but it's a good way for people to be able to cycle their clothing to people that need it, and then pick out clothing if you need it yourself. So, and I know a lot of people, especially some of our younger folks, need coats this time of year. When we went to the food banks, the one on 272nd and Pack Highway, and that's the Multi-Service Center Food Bank, and then the one over at Senior Center east of the freeway, we gave them each a $20,000 check. And the reason why that's so important is because with their buying power, they can use that to double or triple what they can get for people. And right now, people are they're worried about their SNAP benefits, not sure what's going to happen after the first of the year. So if you feel like donating, be sure to bring cans of food here to the city, or you can donate to either of those two food banks. It was wonderful when we were east of the freeway. There were 150 people there for lunch when we went, and they were lovely people, and they played a piano and sang "America the Beautiful," and they were very, very fortunate. I thought Shelley was going to cry. It was so sweet. But they also have a garden there that hopefully somebody will take over and grow vegetables again in the spring. But so keep that in mind. And then not only did we give money to those two places, we also gave $5,000 to the Federal Way Community Caregivers Network. And that is people who volunteer in one of the churches, and they feed homeless folks. And that's just like a little kitchen where people can go and get a lunch and have a hot lunch. So very, very important for one thing, at this time of year, but also very, very important when people are so worried. At the end of the month, they don't have enough money. And sometimes you'll find people with whole families coming into the food banks or to like the community caregivers or wherever. And I think Councilmember Dovey could attest, because he used to be on that committee where they feed their family that way. So thank you very much.
We've got such a generous council. I don't know if I told you guys, we were at that, the community caregiving super supper, and we had already bought a table for 2,500, and we had a non-quorum amount of council members there. I think there were 3 at the table, including the council president and 1 or 2 others, and that included Councilmember Honda as well. And they're like, tell them you're going to give them more. And we promised them then another $5,000. And so, and then also the bag program, which is a really important, it's bridging the gap. We did the same. We bought a table for $2,500 and gave them another $5,000, which is a backpack for kids that are at school to make sure that they take them home for their families. And it is really, the bag program is just a phenomenal homegrown organization that's really helping them with food security. But you've just got a really compassionate council that, as we're sitting there in a real time, they're nudging me, going, give them 5 more. What are you doing? And it was really nice. Councilor McDaniel, do you have some more information about the?
Yeah, I found out today that at the clothing swap, at the Tool Library is also going to be the Do the Right Thing diaper bank. So they'll be handing out packets of diapers and wipes and other items too. So they will also be there if people come with children. So just want to throw that out there.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, all right, that concludes that. Now the most important part of the meeting, to hear from you, the folks that we work for. Actually, I've got Councilor McDaniel. Did you want to go first? Yeah. Okay, so we'll have Councilor McDaniel, then we'll have Michelle Malosha, and then, hold on, while you're making your way down there, let me read. After Ms. Malosha, we've got Bernard Motorshead, Harold Booker, Craig Patrick, and Anna Patrick. All right, Councilmember?
Paul McDaniel for the record, resident of Fedge Way since the early 90s. Today, what I was going to talk about is council rules. The last time we had a public forum and we had the public comments, I noticed after my comments that some of the rules were broken. I wanted to point out I spent an hour making sure that my time was allotted correctly at 3 minutes. As a council member, we are at the pretty much the mercy of the mayor to run the business. That is business of the council, is the mayor's responsibility. I am asking that next time, Mayor, drop the hammer. If someone comes in and they go over the 3 minutes, their time is up. Having people come up here and literally make commercials irritates me. I literally spent an hour making sure that my speech would work in the 3 minutes. I have not unlimited time, but I have more time when I'm up there. When I came out here, man, I try to follow the rules. I always try to follow the rules until I don't feel like doing it anymore. And when people come out here and do stuff like that, it irritates me, one, and it also breaks the decorum of the council. The fact that some of these people had already been in engagement with people in the city knowing that they would come and speak and still went overtime. And the second thing was calling people out by name. That is against the rules. So I'm going to tell the council, and I'll tell the next council the same thing, there's 2 of them here. If someone breaks decorum and they're not following the rules, call a point of order, put them back in check. That is the responsibility and the rules that we follow. We need to call them accountable if necessary. I asked the mayor to do it, but if the time gets to the point where somebody else needs to step up, if someone starts calling people out by name, by seats, unacceptable. Put it to a stop. And the last thing, on a good note, Mr. Purton, happy belated birthday. I'm glad to see you're here and that I will be getting emails back and forth. So I'll give my time up. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember. Okay, Michelle Malosha.
Good evening, Mayor Farrell, council and city staff. My name is Michelle Malosha. I live at 30720 19th Avenue South, right here in Federal Way. I'm here tonight to bring your attention to a serious ongoing quality of life and public safety issue at 2000 308th Street in Federal Way. For the past several years, this property has been the source of repeated complaints and police calls. To date, there have been 75 documented police reports associated with this address. Residents in this area, including myself, have submitted multiple code enforcement complaints regarding aggressive and loose dogs that have charged at adults and children. It's been documented that a dog bit a 17-year-old in February of this year and injured a neighbor's dog being walked in May of 2025. My husband was charged and backed into our garage by 2 of their pit bulls. Multiple pit bulls and other dogs in April of 2025. I no longer feel safe walking out in my yard. Numerous inoperable vehicles stored on the front lawn and the backyard, front and backyards that have become de facto landfills, garbage, appliances, more than like an unpermitted building structures and debris. Strong evidence and repeated neighbor reports of possible illegal activity
On multiple evenings after dark, I personally witnessed individuals using torches and welding equipment on vehicles in the backyard. Despite complaints to the police department, code enforcement, animal services, and the property owner himself, problems have not been resolved and conditions continue to worsen. For example, the recent deceased person found in the property's backyard, apparently the deceased person was mauled by some type of dog. This property will significantly lower property values, continue to create legitimate safety concerns, and its residents are stressed and fearful given this property's history. I'm not here to vilify any individual, but the current situation is unacceptable and appears to exceed what our existing ordinances and enforcement resources have been able to address. I would ask the council to direct code enforcement and the police department to conduct an inspection of the property as soon as possible, explore every resource to bring this property into compliance quickly and permanently, provide the affected neighbors a clear timeline and point of contact so that we know our concerns are being taken seriously. I read an article today about a woman being attacked by 2 dogs and sued by the city, so I don't want that to happen here. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. And when the green means go, yellow means give it 30 seconds, and then, Michelle, did you have 30 seconds more, did you want to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to.
Okay, let's, maybe what we can do, Michelle, let's have you come back up to the, can you put 30 seconds on the clock for her? Because yellow means you've got 30 seconds, red means stop.
Okay, so in closing, I just read an article about a woman being attacked by 2 dogs in her community. After numerous reports, complaints to Animal Service, King County Sheriff, Enforcement Services regarding hazardous property, aggressive dogs, et cetera, King County awarded her $21.5 million in August of this year. I don't want this happening in our town, okay? And we've had it, we're done, and enough is enough. So thank you for your attention.
Great, thank you very much. At the conclusion of public comment, we'll divvy up, we'll reach out to our acting police chief and some other folks with regard to individual comments made. So if I don't say it right when you get done, we'll do it when public comment is over completely. Mr. Motorshead. And that's, for the record, Bernard Motorshead. And then Harold Booker.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, members of the public. My name is Bernard J. Motorshead. I live at Southwest 357th Street, Federal Way. I'm here about the discriminating overlay projects in this city. I have photographs here that will validate exactly what I'm talking about. If you wish me to show them, they're here. If you do not, that's fine. What I'm here for this evening, I want a meeting with your police chief. I've been trying to get contact with him for 11 months. That's issue criminal complaints against the council and employees. One in particular, your past Public Works Director, which you gave the key to the city to. Here's the documents right here. And there's a lot more. Do you want to see the documents?
Mr. Motorhead, the time is yours to spend as you wish.
Pardon?
The time is yours to spend as you wish.
You suspending me?
No, please. How much, can you stop the clock? How much time is left?
It's your turn to see if you want to send them. They're
A minute 35.
Could you get to maybe go back to 2 minutes? Mr. Motorshead, you could say whatever you want to say right now within the confines of the rules. If you want to show us the pictures, go ahead. Did you restart? Okay.
Thank you.
Campus Estates.
Whoops.
This road was installed 2025. It's been overlaid twice. Another one. Here's a third one. That road has been in for 20 years. This road has been in for 57 years. It's been overlaid once. This is not a priority according to the Public Works Department. I do have asthma, and you're in the conduct of a crime of endangerment, which I'm going to refer to the police chief. That is 357th Street. This is 358th Street. Not a priority.
Mr. Motorhead, did you want to make, say, maybe one or two more statements before you sit down?
I just got one more picture to show. Two more.
All right.
358th Street is not a priority. Three 358th Street, it's not a priority because the reason why they don't want to go down that street because of corruption that went on in the past.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And if
I
you could,
just want one thing to say. Can I be assured a meeting with the police chief?
you'll be contacted. We'll talk about that as soon as public comment's over. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Harold Booker.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and the council. My name is Harold Booker. I am a resident of Federal Way for 60 years. Judge Larson and I went to high school together. I moved in 1962. And I currently live in the Dash Point area. This evening, I wanted to comment about the recent revision to the flag policy. I was honored to be asked to say a few words at the 2025 Juneteenth celebration. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Bill. It was the first time that I had publicly spoken on that topic. It was my intention to utilize that opportunity to share a positive message, to share a little history, and celebrate the strength and the transformation of our city. I'll let others judge whether I was successful at that. That this council has taken a position to restrict future opportunities for folks to have that opportunity to share a little bit about themselves and the growth and their impact and their interaction with the city is sad. Now, Judge Larson and I went to school at the same time. And that poem he knew, I knew it by heart. I choose to use a different one. Isn't it strange that princes and kings and clowns who caper in sawdust rings and common folk like you and I, we are the builders of eternity. To each is given a shapeless mass, a bag of tools, and a set of rules. And each of us must choose whether to make a stumbling block or a stepping stone. I would contend that if we are builders and we want to make a stepping stone, yes, we need to identify problems. We need to identify issues. We need to identify opportunities. And then we need to come forward with a proposal to improve. Just saying, no, I don't think we should do that, and not offering an opportunity for what we could do to correct the situation, I would suggest we're making stumbling blocks. We're not making stepping stones. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Craig Patrick.
Good evening, Mayor, Council President Kochmeyer, council members, community members. My name is Craig Patrick. I am a resident of Federal Way. As Vice Chair of the Diversity Commission, I am speaking on behalf of the Commission this evening. We are following up on the November 5th public comment provided by Commissioner George Houston regarding the flag raising at City Hall. You should have received that copy by now from the public comment. The last council meeting, as part of the council comments, Council President recognized the topic of flag raising should receive additional attention and suggested forming a committee to review the flag policy and make recommendations to the council. We respectfully ask the council to consider the Diversity Commission an already body established in the city code for this purpose. Our purpose, as established in city code, is to solicit feedback and information and provide guidance to the city council to create more equitable, accessible, safe, welcoming, inclusive government and community, evaluating how the city recognizes and celebrates its diverse communities, is squarely within our mandate for the Diversity Commission. The structure to do this work already exists. The commission has the staff support, established meeting cadence, and engaged process in place. Should the council agree this work should be directed to the Diversity Commission, the commission will make it a priority and would expect to be able to provide a report and recommendations to the City Council at the Parks, Recreation, Human Service, and Public Safety Committee in March or April. It's our opinion that creating a separate committee would duplicate structures, delay process, overlook the very entity the council created for this purpose. I don't see there's a reason to have two competing Diversity Commission and a flag committee. We care deeply about our community. That's why we choose to volunteer our time, try to make this city a better place to live, work. We're ready to begin the work immediately and welcome opportunities to partner with the council to develop thoughtful, community-related, informed recommendations. I think it's important to give the Diversity Commission a chance to succeed on this. Let them have a shot at it. Let them build something up. I don't have a poem, but I do have a saying. Tra-la, la-ra.
All right. Anna Patrick.
Evening, Mayor and Council and public. I speak as a community member tonight, and I would like to address a series of events that raise serious concern involving our community. I recently attended the Diversity Commission meeting to provide my feedback regarding the flag situation. A commissioner shared that they felt genuinely vulnerable and unsafe after hearing a member of the clergy openly justify violence against a public figure on social media. Regardless of political viewpoint or religious beliefs, it is alarming for anyone, especially a spiritual leader, to endorse harm. That resident's fear was sincere. Well, that commissioner's fear was sincere and deserved compassion. Instead, the response they received from another commissioner was dismissive. The other commissioner replied with a comment suggesting, now you know what it's like to be in the LGBTQ community. This not only minimized the residents' or the commissioner's experience, it framed vulnerability as something to be competed over rather than addressed. No one in this community should be told that feeling unsafe is something that they somehow deserve or should simply accept. In addition to this, the commissioner also originally shared concern that one of our lawmakers has targeted a specific religious group by introducing legislation that restricts or interferes with the sacraments, an action many perceive as discriminatory. This comes at a time when that same dismissive commissioner has repeatedly framed the LGBTQ community and this religious community as opposing groups, claiming they must be separated for the sake of safe space. This pattern, using divisive rhetoric pitting communities against each other, co-opting groups for political gain, and failing to respond to vulnerability with empathy undermines the dignity of everyone involved. It creates the harmful impression that certain groups are inherently incompatible or less deserving of protection. We must not tolerate behavior from appointed commissioners that marginalizes, targets, or divides. Leadership should never be about choosing sides between communities. Can I take another? Okay. Communities who have both experienced real historical pain. Instead, it requires bringing people together, protecting everyone's rights, and responding to concerns with seriousness and compassion. I urge this council, city staff, and our community to hold our leaders and community to a higher standard. We deserve commissioners and lawmakers who unify rather than divide. Leaders who honor civil rights, protect religious freedom, support LGBTQ safety, and treat every resident's vulnerability with dignity. Thank you.
Thank you. Taylor Franco. Let's make sure I've got that right. One second. Yeah, Taylor Franco. Is Taylor here? Taylor? Okay, I'll put that aside just in case Taylor shows back up. Ruth Markert.
My name is,
Ruth, could you hold on for a second? Mr. Motorshead? Could you? Ruth, I'm sorry. Before Mr. Motorshead leaves, I want. Mr. Motorshead, it looks like you want to head home. I just want to let you know, I'm going to ask our deputy chief to get in touch with you per your request.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Sorry, Ruth, go ahead.
quite all right. My name is Ruth Markert, and I've been a resident here in Federal Way for the past 10 years, and I've really enjoyed seeing all the fruits of your labor as the city has become a great city for us. However, I too feel very unsafe. My neighbor is also here, and she spoke, so I'm not going to reiterate everything that she's spoken about. I just want you to know that I'm a tough chick. I grew up in New York. I've ridden the subways. I feel like I can handle things, but what's going on in my neighborhood is a bridge too far. I am terrified to walk out of my house without fear of being attacked by stray dogs. The neighbors who own the dogs don't care. And one thing that I want to add is that this house is right where a bus stop for elementary kids come and go every day. And we adults are terrified about what's going on. We have to protect not only our citizens, but our kids. And so I'm really glad that we have an opportunity to talk tonight to somebody to help guide us. We don't have resources without you. So we look forward to talking to you after this.
Very good. Thank you very much. Okay, so one more time, is Taylor Franco here? Okay, all right. If Taylor shows back up before the end of the meeting, we'll try to get that person up. Okay, as to Deputy Chief Sumter, Acting Chief Sumter, would you, our Chief, Andy Wong, is on vacation until December 1st. Deputy Chief Sumter is our Acting Chief. Chief Sumter, what can you tell us about the situation and what's going to happen moving forward?
Well, first of all, their concerns are absolutely legitimate. It is a problem house, and it has been for quite some time. I can speak to the dog situation because I think that's where most of the fear is coming from, although the problem doesn't end with the dogs. The location itself suffers a lot of problems. On November 3rd, and I won't go into the details in this meeting here, but they are well aware, everybody who lives in that neighborhood, that on November 3rd, a deceased person was found in the backyard of the residence that is in question. And there was a supposition by all of us, the neighbors and the police investigators, that some of the dogs were responsible for what occurred in the backyard. And there were 3 dogs outside at the time apparently associated. And so we seized all 3 of those dogs. Unfortunately, we were unable to find any forensic evidence linking them to what occurred. And so, lacking evidence to keep the dogs in custody, we had to begin the process of, first of all, going through a dangerous dog hearing process. And lacking evidence, we couldn't put that label on any of those dogs. Now, one of the 3 dogs belonged to the deceased, and that dog is still in custody because there's nobody to return the dog to. Again, no evidence that that dog was involved. The other 2 dogs belong to the woman who lives on the property. Neighbors are well aware she's not the homeowner. She lives there by permission. Those dogs had no evidence of being involved either. So we were required legally, as much as we don't want to, and as much as the neighbors don't want us to, we had no legal reason to continue holding them. So on November 14th, one of those dogs was returned, and after a neutering surgery, the other dog was probably returned today. So 2 dogs out of 10 are back. What of the others then that make up about 10? We went back there with a search warrant to get the dogs that were in the house on November 6th. And by that time, the resident had transitioned all but one of the dogs elsewhere. So they were no longer there. Perhaps one of those dogs was responsible for what occurred in the backyard. Looks like we may never know because they were gone. And so we don't have evidence that any of the dogs we've been able to get our hands on were involved in what occurred in the backyard. I suppose if there's any good news, it is that those dogs are at least not there as of a few days ago. But we're not done investigating, and the case isn't closed, and we're certainly hopeful to find more evidence of something. So the current state of the dogs is, out of 10, 8 are gone, 2 are back. 1 for sure, the second one probably back as of today. And that doesn't mean that we think it's a good situation, and it doesn't mean that the neighbors should be satisfied having 2 of those dogs back. It's the legal circumstances we find ourselves in. Now, I'm happy to step out when we're done with these comments here. I'm happy to step out and we'll go into the adjacent room and I'll talk to all the neighbors who are here from that neighborhood in more detail. But in terms of trying to remain discreet in a public setting that's on TV and going to be put on YouTube, I think it's best that we take this into the other room for more detail.
Right. For what happened in the backyard.
Right.
Okay. Just to be clear. And, obviously, we're going to need to make sure that we've got clear lines of communication with regard to if these dogs are loose again. And about
Oh, yeah,
what steps to be
that's
taken.
a dog running loose. Please call us.
Okay.
Yep.
You'll talk to them about that. Plus, actually, Keith Niven, the head of our Community Development Department, is here. That department handles code compliance, which is which would address the debris and the junkyard, those kind of things. Keith, can you, do you have an upcoming agenda item, or could you step out with the deputy chief immediately following public comment?
Councilmember Dovey indicated he was going to pull consent item I off. That is mine. I'm not sure if I have any role in that action. So I don't know is the answer.
Brian, would you be able, who would be handling, actually, you are listed there. Why don't we do this? Let's, that's the last.
What I can say, Mayor, is that there is an open code compliance case for the property.
Okay.
And code compliance is aware of the complaints and are working through that, creating a notice of violation and working through those issues related to junk and debris, primarily in the backyard, with the property owner, who is obviously not the resident.
Okay. All right, so those will be ongoing. And what I'd ask you to do is, we've had both, one second, Ruth and Ruth Merkert and Michelle Malosha. I want to see if we've got Ms. Malosha's email. We certainly have your phone. We do have your email. And then, Ruth, would you please provide your, we don't either have your phone number or your cell number. what I'd actually do, Keith, is I need you to email me the report with regard to the status of that property, and then please update Ms. Malosha and Ms. Markert. And maybe, Ruth, if you could provide your email address to the deputy chief when you guys are back there, and then he'll give it to Keith, and we're going to get you an update on what's going on. Clearly, you can reach out to us anytime. This is an ongoing issue with regard to code compliance, and I want to see what the parameters are. Sometimes with regard, it's about what we can see and about what is actionable at that time. But we want to make sure we're communicating with you to make sure we've got our arms around the universe of what's happening, and that we don't start a process and key things are missing. So that's why we need your information. Okay, so thank you very much, and thank you, Deputy Chief. Thank you, everybody, and thank you for coming about this. Okay, was there any other public comment? Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. And now we'll move on to the consent agenda. These items have gone through committee. It can be passed all at once. I'll go ahead and read them and ask whether a council member wants an item pulled for separate consideration. All right, item 5A, approve the minutes for the November 5, 2025 City Council special meeting and regular meeting. Item B, approve the design advancement in bidding for the 21st Avenue Southwest Preservation Project. That's Southwest 320th to Southwest 339th Street, 85% status update. Item C, approve the project acceptance for 27th Avenue Southwest at Southwest 344th Street Compact Roundabout Project. Item D, authorize design advancement and bidding for the South 320th Street Preservation Project, 1st Avenue South to State Route 99, 85% status update. Item E, approve overlay project list and authorize design enhancement and bidding for the 2026 asphalt overlay program. Item F, approve resolution, designate a portion of South 316th Street as a, quote, festival street, end quote. Item G, approve updates for the surface water management utility from 2026 to 2031, comprehensive plan update. Item H, accept grant for the Washington State Office of Public Defense, RCW 10.101 grant funds. And item I, authorize negotiation for the development agreement with Wayside United Church of Christ. Councilmember, are there any other, Councilmember Dovey, did you want to pull item I?
I'd like to pull item I, just to
Okay.
address it.
Item I is pulled. Councilmember, are there any other items you would want pulled for separate consideration? All right, Councilmember Kochmar, Council President Kochmar.
I move approval of consent agenda items A through H.
Second.
It's been a motion and a second to approve items A through H. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, those matters are passed unanimously. Item I. Councilmember?
I wanted to pull this because I think it's important that citizens understand what this really is. We had this room packed last week, and people were talking, or 2 weeks ago, about a flag issue, which most people really, in my opinion, had no clue why we did what we did. This, we're moving forward, and I think it's so important that the citizens understand that this is the first step, or one of the first steps the City of Federal Way is doing to try to get affordable housing built in Federal Way so people can buy homes in conjunction with a local church. And this is just the exploration of how we get it done. But we have a real affordability crisis in Federal Way and across the whole U.S. And if we can't come up with ways to build houses for people to afford that are less than the going rate today of $600,000, which is an entry-level house, we're going to have problems for generations, more than we have now. And the reason I pulled this is this council has worked for a year to reform zoning laws, to work with what the state has done to have more density on property. And we're taking a step today to start a negotiation with this church that has land so affordable housing can be built for people to purchase. You know, if you followed the news today, Seattle raised the price of permits on their buildings 18% today. They voted it in their council to increase the cost of permits so people can build houses and property. And so we're taking a different approach. We're trying to make it so developers can build property, we can work with the churches that have property, we can put the property on the tax rolls, we can support people that want to buy a house that don't make $150,000 or $200,000 or whatever it is to buy a starter house at $600,000 in Federal Way. So I just wanted to call this out because this council has worked very hard to get to this point. It's not across the finish line, we're just at the starting point. But this is, to me, the biggest thing other than building Celebration Park that I've been involved in this council in the last 18 years that I served. And so I wanted to make sure that everybody heard that. To me, this is groundbreaking. This is something that nobody else around this community in King County is doing. We're only at the starting blocks, but affordable housing for purchase is very, very important. You know, everybody talks about affordable housing so people can rent something cheaper or less expensive. We need to get people to break away from those handcuffs that they have to rent for the rest of their years in an apartment. We need to make it so people can buy houses in Federal Way that are affordable and so that we can drive the economics in this community. So I'm thankful that this is on the agenda. I'm saying we move it forward and pass it, and then the work begins. I want to thank Keith for all the work he's done, the staff, the mayor, Brian, because this has been a major step forward in my opinion, and that's why I pulled it, so I could at least mention that to everybody.
Very good. Would you like to make the motion?
I'd like to move that we move item I forward so we can begin the development agreement with Wayside United Church of Christ.
Second.
It's been a motion, a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, it's unanimous. Thank you, Councilmember.
Thank
Okay.
you very much.
Very good, thank you. Okay, now we are on to item 6, ordinances. We've got first reading, Council Bill 927, ordinance Fat Beam LLC franchise. We'll have Leonard Spadoni, our senior engineering plans reviewer, provide a presentation. Leonard, the floor is yours.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. I am Leonard Spadoni with Public Works, and I'm here tonight to present the policy question. Sorry.
There's a separate item, separate device.
Oh. Sorry. I'm here tonight to present the policy question. Should the city grant Fat Beam Fiber, an LLC, a franchise ordinance to place fiber optic communications and related appurtenances within the city through the Federal Way? Background information. Fat Beam LLC has requested a utility franchise from the city of Federal Way in order to place fiber optic cable and appurtenances in the city-owned and controlled right-of-way. Fat Beam LLC has paid their $5,000 deposit for administration and staff time. The proposed franchise is for a period of 10 years, commencing on the effective date of the approved franchise, which is consistent with the franchises granted to other utility providers. Options to consider: recommend adoption of the proposed Fat Beam Fiber LLC franchise ordinance and forward it to the City Council for second reading. Option 2, do not adopt the proposed ordinance and provide direction to staff. The mayor and LLC recommendations forward the Fat Beam Fiber LLC franchise ordinance to the City Council meeting on December 2nd for the second reading and adoption.
All right.
Any
Council?
questions?
Yeah, council, any questions for Leonard? Okay. All right.
Thank you very much.
And, did we receive any public comment on this? Okay, so there's no public comment. Would the city clerk please read the ordinance title?
Council Bill 927, ordinance Fat Beam LLC franchise, an ordinance of the City of Federal Way, Washington, granting Fat Beam LLC a non-exclusive franchise to occupy rights-of-way of the City of Federal Way, Washington, within the specified franchise area for the purposes of constructing, maintaining, operating, replacing, and repairing a telecommunications network within and through the City of Federal Way.
All right, Councilmember Dovey?
I move to forward the proposed ordinance to the December 2nd, 2025 council meeting for second reading and enactment.
Second.
It's been a motion, a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, matter passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. A great job, Leonard. Item B, first reading, Council Bill 928, Ordinance Sign Code Amendments. We'll have a presentation from Keith Niven, our Community Development Director. Keith?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council President Kochmar, and City Council members. Tonight, we're going to talk about amending our sign code. So the policy question in front of the City Council is, should the City Council approve the proposed code amendments relating to the city's sign code? And before we get too deep into this, we don't try and change the sign code often because people either love signs or hate signs. Nobody's ambivalent to signs. So we did this very carefully, and I hope the lack of angry people in the audience, I hope you're not angry, shows that we maybe did a good job with this. So why the update? So the first thing is there was a Supreme Court case in 2015, Reed versus the town of Gilbert, Arizona, and it was relating to content neutrality, and I'll explain that in a second. The second thing was to simplify and clarify our existing sign code. Our existing sign code is really difficult to read and understand. It kind of loops back on itself at least 2 or 3 times. We want to clean up the sign code, and then as part of this process, we reached out to Chamber of Commerce, to a number of commercial property owners, and talked to them about our existing sign code, and we want to incorporate some of the comments that we heard through this process. So the first thing is content neutrality. So Reed versus the town of Gilbert, Arizona, 2015, Supreme Court held that the temporary non-commercial sign regulations of a local sign code violated the First Amendment because they were content-based and did not survive strict scrutiny. Let me explain that in English. So what happened is you had a church in Arizona, and that sign on the left is actually the church sign, and the church doesn't have its own sanctuary. So they had to put a sign out every week that said where their church service was going to be held. If you can actually read that one, it says Good News Presbyterian Church is going to be at Coronado Elementary School. All right? And so what the city of Gilbert did is say, well, that sign on the left is not allowed because it's in public right-of-way, and those type of signs identifying things like church services are not allowed. And what the church said was, well, wait a second, you're allowing that sign on the right, which is for a political candidate, and what's the difference between our sign and that sign? And so ultimately, that went all the way up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, you know what, church, you're right. Your sign is no more egregious than other sign, and so therefore, the sign code was thrown out. And almost every city across the United States, sign codes were written the exact same way. You basically had to read it to understand whether it was allowed or not. And that's an infringement on free speech. So that was the first piece. The second piece is, you know what, we really wanted to simplify our sign code. So all of those sections with lines through them, this is the existing table of contents for our sign code. Every section with a line through it is now deleted. And we simplified and moved stuff to other sections, and it is a much shorter chapter as proposed this evening. The third thing was to clarify. So right now, gravestones, flags, murals, catenary or string lights, those all may or may not be considered signs under our existing sign code. So one of the things we very clearly identified is that those things are not signs and not regulated by the city sign code. Next is, this is really the kind of the meat and potatoes of this amendment, is really to talk about what's changing. So there are a lot of clarifications. There's make it consistent with Supreme Court decisions. That's all kind of, that's a yes, you have to do that. This stuff here, we're changing based on how we think the sign code should read. So the first one is the city will treat non-commercial and commercial temporary signs, so these are just temporary signs, the same. And the reason for that is if you look at these two sign pictures on the bottom of this slide, I look at the one that says congratulations high school graduates, and I look at the one for teeth services, and I don't know that either one of them is better or worse than the other. And so for me, when I look at this, it's like, why would I treat one differently than the other? Like, just treat them the same, make the sign code simpler. And so we aired that idea with the Planning Commission, with the Chamber of Commerce, and everybody thought that was the right way to handle it. So that's the way it's currently drafted for the City Council. The second item is temporary signs may be in place for 120 days. We talked about this at Land Use and Transportation Committee. It was originally drafted at 180 days, and the suggestion coming out of committee was let's pull that back to 120. Law Department said 120 should be okay. It has not been litigated, so we don't know that absolutely, but we think 120 days will work. And then the third one is A-frame signs can be year-long, but only from 9 a.m. to the close of business. And we talked about that at committee as well. The reason why 9 a.m. when some businesses are actually open earlier than that is it gives us a very small window where our code compliance officers can go out there and actually see if there are signs that are being left out all night long, because that means they're probably still there at 8 o'clock in the morning when our folks are coming into work. So it gives us an opportunity to do a little bit of enforcement when needed. More changes. We're going to allow small signs, a maximum of 6 square feet for businesses that are in residential zones. So these are examples of small kind of, one's a blade sign, the other's a window sign for home-based businesses. We heard that from the chamber and from the real estate professionals, that this is something that many cities have already and that we didn't, but would be a good addition to our sign code. We got this, this is a comment that came from the Commons, and right now our sign code does not allow these signs that are above the canopy. The way the code reads right now, that's considered a roof sign and is not allowed. And one of the things that was asked for is, how about these signs, the 1701 and the sweet green, could those be allowed? And we thought, why not? Those don't look awful. As long as there's a building behind it and you can't see the sign from the backside, it seems like these could be identified as something other than roof signs, which is to allow it in the sign code as an above canopy sign. We also are suggesting putting back, there was a provision for a comprehensive sign permit back in the day, and it was deleted. And we're suggesting putting it back in because we believe that it could allow for the city to get better design signs if a property owner handles them all as a package as opposed to doing it individually. It gives some incentive to the property owner, a little bit more signage if they handle it as a package, but we think we'll get better signs and it will simplify permitting, which we think are both wins for the city. And then lastly, right now, you're looking at Jet Chevrolet on the left and the Marriott on the right. They both have signs that face I-5. The code allowed for signs facing I-5, but not wall signs. It allowed for pole signs. And so we changed the code to be specific that, you know, if your building is visible from Interstate 5, that you could have an additional sign facing the freeway. But you needed to have that visibility. So I mentioned outreach earlier. We went to the Planning Commission. We had both a briefing and a public hearing there. We talked with the Pavilion Center, with Chamber of Commerce, Hillside Plaza, Finwater Advisors, they're a sign company. Sam Pace is with the Association of Realtors, the Commons, the Crossings, Walmart, Celebration Center, SeaTac Village, and Pavilion Center 2. Because we wanted to make sure we heard from all of them if they were looking for any changes to our sign code, and we incorporated a lot of their comments. So when we amend Title 19 of the City Code, there's certain criteria that we have to meet. Those criteria have been met with this proposed code amendment. Recommendations, Planning Commission recommends approval of the proposed signed code amendments, and the mayor also recommends approval of the proposed signed code amendments. And I'm here for questions.
All right. Can I see the council members? There we go. Okay, council, any questions?
I have some.
Councilmember McDaniel.
Yeah. A couple quick questions. The first one is there a deadline that we have to have this done by, or are we just trying to get this done with this year?
We're 10 years out of date from the Supreme Court decision, so what's another month? It would be nice, to get this done, but is there a deadline? No, there's not. There's no state-imposed deadline. This was just trying to get this work done.
Okay, that was my first question. The second
Although
one is-
Brian looks like he turned his light on.
Can I just make a comment on that real quick? So we've been having discussions about when there's a sign in question, and it may be in violation to the current code, but then we always say among ourselves, well, it's not consistent with the Gilbert decision, and so we're kind of in this limbo period. And we've managed okay, but as soon as we can get this resolved, the better.
Understood. I just wanted to check on a few questions. Thank you, though. The second one is going to be on the home-based. And the first one I'm going to have is childcare. I have driven around the city. It's actually one of my big things, and I'll be talking to people about that one. They were advertising with signs in yards, on fences, on brick walls. The examples we had, in my mind, will not pick up eyeballs. And I mean, it's one of those weird home businesses where people drive by and they see you, and you're looking for somebody who's within a few blocks of your house for the most part. You're not looking at driving across the city for the most part. So if this goes through tonight, is there a way to carve out childcare? Is there a way that home childcare is something that can have an exception or something? Or how does that play out if we looked at that?
So I'll give you my opinion. I'd like a opinion from law as well, if they're willing to. So here's the thing is, we're trying to balance kind of neighborhood character as well. So there's an allowance for some small signs in residential zones. We had, it was maybe 3 council meetings ago where a daycare provider came and showed kind of pictures of what they have going on at their house with feather signs and with a garage door painted to be basically a giant sign. And I guess what we heard was that although the council wants to support childcare, and there's also a desire to keep and retain kind of the character of single-family neighborhoods, and you start to allow too much signage into the middle of those neighborhoods, and you should really start to kind of impact that cohesion of character of that residential area. So I would also say that even though most businesses, almost every business you talk to will tell you, I need bigger signs. Yeah. And what I would tell you is most people find their businesses via the phone and the internet these days, and not necessarily by a giant blinking street sign.
I will find out soon if that's true for daycare. I think it might be an anomaly in that scenario, but I do not know the answer. We passed this today.
Yes.
It's black and white, and the 3 that I saw this week would have to have their stuff torn down, including the 4th one that came.
It has to have their stuff torn down by the existing sign code.
Yeah.
So it's completely out of compliance, and they've been cited. And whether they're holding their breath, hoping for a different sign code. Now, basically what you're saying is, can we allow bigger signs on residential properties just for daycare? I don't think you can make it just for daycare, but I'm going to look to Ryan and see if he wants to weigh in.
Ryan?
Yeah, so that's correct. So there's a concept of equal protection under the law. So we need to present all businesses under the same guise. We can regulate commercial speech differently than non-commercial speech. So we're allowed to read the sign to see if it's for a business or not. But I don't believe it's defensible to carve out a particular type of business. It would need to be just a blanket rule for all home businesses.
Okay, so there's no way of saying this business can have this. You can do it by sign. You can say an A-frame compared to those.
We can do it by
portable.
location, so by the area of the city.
Okay.
But we could not do it by the content, the type of business.
Is that done by zoning? Or how would that be done?
We do it in this actual ordinance. We do have different rules for particular types of signs in different zones.
Yes.
Okay. The next question I have then is on A-frames that are left out overnight. What happens? Are they confiscated, or is it?
If they're, so if we get a complaint from someone that there is an A-frame that is not being pulled in at the close of business, code compliance will go out, and if the A-frame's there before 9 o'clock, they'll pick it up.
Okay. And then is the business owner informed about that? Or do
Yes.
they just realize it's gone and they have to make a phone call?
No, we will inform the business that we put their sign in what's called sign jail.
Yeah, well, that's my next one, sign jail.
Yeah.
So is the price for all signs that go to sign jail the same, no matter the
Yes.
size and everything?
And we're not making money,
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, okay.
This is the city, we don't make money, we provide services. With that said, with the jail sign, do we do photos or not? I know that was a question that was up in the air beforehand.
We do not take a photo of the signs when we pick them up.
Okay, that's my one contention is if we're gonna pick,
So-
is that a big hassle, is what you're saying, if we do that?
It's extra work, and it's keeping that data in a database, because why take the picture if you're not going to create data that you can then find later in a database, right? So you're asking the existing staff to do additional work, and I appreciate the suggestion, as I told Councilmember Honda, but at the end of the day, if the council has ideas on how staff should do their work, they really need to take that up with the mayor, and then the mayor and I can have a conversation if he wants to do that afterwards.
Understood, but my thing is, and it wasn't about an employee in my mind, it was more of we are stating that we did something based off of legal reasoning, but when the police do it, there's records, there's recordings and stuff. My property has now been taken outside of my control and now sits in a position or a place that I am not allowed to go take it back from without paying a fee. So again, nothing to do with employees, that's not my jurisdiction, that's his. My thing is, if someone takes something of mine and can't prove why they took it, this is the only organization or structure that can do it and get away with it. Otherwise, it's two people, two residents. So my problem is that if we do not do a photo and we take it, what is the justification? I mean, not justification. If I come in and I say, no, it was in the right place, and you say, no, it wasn't, you're still gonna make me pay $5 to get my sign back, or whatever the price tag is, right?
So I hear the concern that you're expressing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would we document?
It's absolutely documented.
Okay. And it's just the manner in which that occurs?
Yes.
Okay. Councilman? Okay. All right, we've got three council members with comments. Councilmember Honda, Councilmember Seppa Dawson, then Councilmember Dovey. Councilmember Honda?
Thank you. Since we're talking about photos, I'll continue with that. In the past, when my campaign signs would be picked up, a photo was taken, and if a photo wasn't taken, I did not have to pay the $5 fee to get the signs out of sign jail. The photo was taken to document that the sign was placed in a spot that it wasn't supposed to be placed in. I think that by taking a photo, which we've done in the past, protects the city, and it also allows education for those putting signs out. And I don't understand why we wouldn't continue doing something that we've done in the past. I think it worked in the past, and I would like to see it continue. As to the A-frames, I think that when a business opens, and if a coffee shop opens at 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning, they probably want their A-frame out when they open because they're trying to get people driving by as they go to work early in the morning. And so my question concerning that is, what time does code enforcement start their daily work, and when are they out looking for signs?
Code compliance starts their shift at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it is over at 5.
So those businesses that open early are going to be, I'm going to use the word penalized, because we're trying to look for businesses that leave A-frames out overnight. And then those businesses that open at 5 or whatever, because they're serving coffee or breakfast and they want to advertise their business, have to wait till 9 because code enforcement doesn't start working till 8. I'm concerned with that. I think we should allow A-frames to be out when the business is open. And business is open at different hours. So I think we need to accommodate businesses to be business friendly. And I know we want to be a business friendly city. My next question is on murals. There's been a lot of discussion over the last 2 to 3 years on murals. And for many people didn't believe that we allowed murals in Federal Way. Keith, can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So murals, there's 2 types of murals, and the code is specific about both types. If there is a mural that has absolutely no business logo or signage in it, it is not a sign at all, and it can be as big and whatever, and placed wherever a property owner wants to place it. If there is a small logo, and we tried to get Smith Brothers to do a mural, with cows on it, but they really pushed back on that. So, if it had a small logo of the business, like it said Smith Brothers somewhere, just that little piece of the mural would count towards their total square footage of wall signage, which most businesses don't actually use all of the square footage that's allowed, so that's probably not going to be a hindrance for businesses to do that. So we would basically just take the portion of the mural that has either a logo, an identifiable logo, or the name of the business in it, and count that as signage, but the rest of the mural would not be.
So then if somebody wanted to put a mural on a building, if you go through other cities, especially South King County, and Auburn and Kent are ones that come to my mind, and you see beautiful murals that take up an entire wall of a building, and I think they bring a lot to the city. Does the property owner need to get permission from the city to do that if it does not have any kind of a business logo on it?
No, not at all. It would be, the property owner could paint a mural as opposed to repainting a side of a blank wall beige if he wanted to. There's nothing in code that would stop him or her from doing that.
Okay, well, that's good to know. The 2 other things that I'd like to bring up is the 120 days that we would allow signs to be up before an election was just a number that came out of the council committee. We were told 60 days would not hold up in court. I would like to see 90 days. I've had a number of people talk to me about especially political signs. And I think 90 days, which is 3 months before an election, would be plenty of time. People seem to be okay with that. I'd also like to know if we could limit the amount of signs that, for any particular business or campaign that were to go up. And let's see, is that it? So could you answer those, or?
Councilmember, you've been provided that in writing, but
Well,
the
yeah,
other
so
day,
this
but
is an ordinance that we get to talk about tonight, so I
okay.
wanted to talk.
So,
Thank you so much.
legal counsel.
I'll speak as to the 90-day period. The closer we are, 60 was the number that was in the case, is the Washington State case, and that was found to not be enough time. 90 is awfully close to 60, so the closer we are to that number of 60, the more likely we are to have to defend it in court, and I don't think there's a substantive difference between 2 months or 3 months. I think 120 is easier to justify, 180 would be very easy to justify. So that's kind of the calculus. The closer we get to 60, the more likely we are to be in court.
And could you summarize, I mentioned that there was a writing that was provided, a legal analysis about the number of signs for a candidate.
Well, there's both practical problems with that and constitutional problems with that.
Go about the constitutional problems
I don't
first.
believe that we can constitutionally limit the number of political signs that are in the public right of way. That is just, you can put up as many signs as your pocket allows and that the public will respond well to, I guess. So if you pollute the city so much that people hate you, then that's probably counterproductive. But no, I don't believe we can constitutionally control political signs in that way.
Based on freedom of speech?
Yes.
Okay.
So.
It wasn't just political signs, it was any sign for, there were, for instance, there were signs for a business that wasn't in Federal Way, and there were quite a number of them out recently, and people called that to my attention.
Sure.
So, also, I'd like to, I would like this, and I certainly glad that there are other council members going to talk about this after I am done. But we have waited for a number of years to have this discussion, and since we have a new council coming in, I would like to see this move to the January 20th, 2026 City Council meeting for discussion and approval, so that the new council can have a part in this discussion, since this will impact their terms of office. And thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Seffa Dawson?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Keith. I wanted to talk about the signs, like daycare signs in neighborhoods, and I understand the concern. And the particular daycare in question is actually my next door neighbor. And since signs are not going to be allowed the way they want to advertise, and I think it was Paul who said, you know, as I'm driving through a neighborhood, if I see something that I can easily access, then I would definitely want to consider it. So having their signs there is very helpful to them. But if the signs are not allowed the way, you know, they like putting their phone numbers or having the feather signs, then I would also encourage us in our economic development to somehow support them financially, at least when they're getting started or whatever, so that we could encourage it, because, you know, these are small mom and pop, small businesses that need the financial support. So if they can't have signs, I would really encourage us to find a way to support them by other means, even if it means developing their websites or whatever it is that we can do. I think I would love to see happen for them. So that's my comment. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Dovey?
Yeah, I'd just like to make a comment about the A-board signs. Anybody in business that wants to direct people to their business will make 3 or 4 A-boards and drive them, just like the real estate market does to open houses. And to make something different in the neighborhoods so a daycare can advertise over anybody else, I think we're picking winners and losers. They can put a small sign up at their place of business. They have now the right to take A-boards, which nobody ever had. And that was a battle here in the early mid-2000s over the sign code. I was here when that all happened. And having the ability to put a sign up for 120 days, I mean, that's amazing. They never used to be able to do that. I mean, we'd have our staff going around picking up signs, and people would be here all the time saying, hey, we don't have enough time. But having the ability to put an A-frame up, be like a real estate agent, run your business, direct them to your home business, your daycare, I think that's more than fair. And to say that somebody needs a sign at their house because they're in their house for a daycare sign, again, we're picking winners. Small businesses everywhere have to decide how they're going to market. And daycares happen to have a great market. They just have to be marketers. They have to know how to sell. They know how to go to a print shop and have a sign made and get people to come to them. So I don't think having a feather sign at their store, at their house, or something different makes them any better. It's how they direct people there. Where I live, there's a daycare sign that's been up on the corner of, 509 and by Sacagawea. It's been there forever. The only bilingual daycare that I know of, and they don't take it down. So I think we have to have rules to say you can have them, which we do with this sign code. I think they have to be responsible to take them down. And I don't have a problem with 9 to 5. I mean, that's what business is all about. And I think this is a huge improvement over anything we've ever had. It gives flexibility. It gives the staff the ability to police it. We don't get ourselves in trouble with the Supreme Court law. And we'd be crazy not to move this forward. I don't think there's any reason to not make this happen this year.
Okay. Councilmember Seffa Dawson, I see your hand is still up. Did you have another comment?
No, but I think I just wanted to clarify, I think any small business, hopefully the city would be willing to support, through other means or other ways. So that would be my proposal,
Okay, thank you very much.
outside of science, yeah.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Honda?
Thank you. Keith, can you tell me how your department documents when a sign is removed and how the owner of the sign is informed of the sign, that you've taken the sign?
I will get back to you on that. I can't do that accurately right here.
Okay.
All right.
It's going to, just to unpack that one layer, it's going to be different whether it's code compliance or whether it's my other guys who are graffiti and shopping carts.
Why would it be different?
Because they handle, one is responding to an Eyes on Federal Way code compliance issue, and the others are, they see a sign that might be in a site triangle or a driveway intersection causing a public safety, they will pick that up right there. So, but I can give you a more detailed response tomorrow.
All right, thank you. Councilmember McDaniel?
I'll actually wait for discussion.
Okay, very good. Okay, did we receive any public comment on this? Okay. Not only public comment, but an opportunity for, no request for public comment? Okay. All right, would the city clerk please read the ordinance title?
Council Bill 928, Ordinance Sign Code Amendments, an ordinance of the City of Federal Way, Washington relating to updates to the sign code, amending and repealing the code sections detailed in the written title.
All right. Councilmember Dovey, do you have a motion?
Yeah, I move to forward the proposed ordinance to the December 2nd, 2025 council meeting for second reading and enactment.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Councilmember McDaniel?
Yeah. My comments, Councilmember Dovey, your comment on that one, I think we choose winners or losers almost all the time up here. I mean, it comes part of the package. We try not to, but it does happen. I will stand on the side of fighting for that smaller business that's very niche in that area. I know it's legally not acceptable. I don't really care about that factor. I just think about, and I thought about this earlier, those daycares facilitate the capability for two family members to go to work. I don't like the fact that two family members have to work, period, but in this city, the average per capita income is $45,000. The average family is around $80,000 to $90,000. Those two numbers don't even get close to buying that $600,000 house. So.
I agree.
Yeah, so, well, I agree with you on most of the parts. I will pick on that one and say that those small businesses that are in the residentials that focus on that area, in my mind, are a completely different model. It is not us trying to sell our technology wares or someone doing sales or someone making something in the backyard, something like that. It is something where most of the people I've talked to, and the three that I went to, it is the local people who live in that community or the people who go to that school. And if you're not able, because of language barriers or ethnical barriers or just not having the business acumen that we took 20 years to get, I feel like it does put them back. Am I going to say no, not vote for it? No, but at the same time, I want to make the point that there is a difference in my mind, especially for a home care in the house, in the residence, because I want people not to have to drive 6-7 miles. I want them to drive 6 blocks. And so that's my only pushback on that one, though. But your point is taken.
Can I make a comment? I mean, what prevents them from putting an A-frame in front of their driveway? We just said they can do A-frames.
No, I'm not just, like I said, I'm not disagreeing.
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
saying that there, in my mind, there's a difference, and the ones that pop up are not the A-frames in my mind when I drive by. It is the unbelievably large banners or the signs that may not even be in the, I'll give a prime example. There is a lady who has a sign in somebody else's yard because she's in a cul-de-sac, and the place that she put her sign is at the corner. So maybe that will become ripped down and now become an A-frame pointing down that road. But they're going to have to, obviously, if we pass it, they have to make adjustments. But I was just wanting to make a distinction that I think that certain businesses are a completely different model and need to be sometimes handled differently, even though I know the legal system doesn't believe that.
Okay. Councilmember Honda?
Thank you. Once again, I would say I'd like to move this to January so the new council can have some input in this. And I won't be supporting this tonight. I don't like that 9 o'clock A-frame. I'd like to allow businesses to have that when they open so that we can support all businesses. And I will be voting against this tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, there's been a motion, a second, a discussion. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Nay?
Nay.
And so,
Councilmember Arcela Dawson,
Nay.
Councilmember McDaniel,
Aye.
Councilmember Honda,
Nay?
Councilmember Tran,
Aye.
Councilmember Walsh is absent, Councilmember Dovey,
Aye.
and Council President Kochmar.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-2.
very good, okay. Thank you very much. Okay, now we're on to council reports, second meeting of the month, so we'll start with Councilmember Dovey.
I don't have anything to report, but have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody in December 5th and 6th.
Very good, thank you very much. Councilmember Tran.
I just want to take this opportunity to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, Paul, for being on the council. It was fun having you on this council. I know that we don't agree on everything, but the thing that really important to me is our friendship, and I really value that. So thank you. Congratulations to the 3 newly elected council members, and congratulations to Mr. Mayor for another term.
Thank you.
So thank you. Yep.
Thank you very much. All right, Councilmember Honda.
Thank you. I'd like to talk about the 36th Annual Flag Day / Veterans Day program. And thank you to all those who participated, and I'm going to read those who participated. Boy Scout Troop 307. Sack lunches were provided by Mobile Notary. The Federal Way Corral. South Sound Harmony. Navy veteran Dr. Jane Hendricks was our keynote speaker. Federal Way poet Bob Darrigan. VFW Post 2886. The Federal Way Seroptimus Club for all the work that they did on it. The King County Warhouser Aquatic Center staff for coming in they decorated on Friday and they did an amazing job. Vicki Chenoweth, Linda Staples, Linda Persha, and especially Mike Dunwoody, who we honored that night for his support of Flag Day for the last 36 years. He is the only one that I know that has been present for every single Flag Day. And the times when we were outside in the rain and the cold, he made it possible for Flag Day to continue. And I would just really like to thank him for all that he has done for us. I'd also like to thank Maria Sakwa, who is a resident of Federal Way, who recently resigned from the Landmarks Commission, which is a new commission that the council created probably 4 years ago, maybe. She did submit her resignation by email, and she'll be missed. She also served on the Parks Commission for a number of years before that, so I'd like to thank her for her service to the city. And I'd like to take this time to thank Paul for the work he has done on the council. I have to say that I think he has worked harder than any other council member I know. When he came on, he wanted to know the whys and the hows of how council and the city ran. And he had a lot of meetings with a lot of people. He worked really hard to understand how things went and why things were the way that they were. He asked a lot of questions. He made a lot of people think about what they were voting on and why they were voting on it. And he looks at the vouchers. I think that he's the only other council member I've known, besides myself, who looked at the vouchers on a consistent basis every single month. I want to tell him how much I appreciate him, and I think that the council member coming in has big shoes to fill. But we will miss you, Paul. You did a great job. Thank you for your service to the city, and I'm sure you have great things ahead of you in life. Thank you.
Councilmember Daniel.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'll start off by saying thank you again, council. Give me the opportunity. It'll be the last time you guys have to hear me without 3-minute limits. So I won't go too much over the 3 minutes, but I appreciate it. And then staff, I grinded you guys hard. I got probably the best bang for the buck out of the legal team that any council member ever has, and I truly appreciate that. I've had questions for decades that I've wanted to ask, and I got to ask them. To me, that's probably the biggest win. And then learning so much information. There is a lot to learn about city, local government, just the way everything works, what a strong mayor is. That was always an interesting one. But I just want to let you guys know I appreciate it. Thank you for answering my questions, taking my emails. I know you don't have to after next Tuesday, but you might still see one every now and then from me. So again, thank you for that information. Mayor, you. I always tell you, I will be iron every time I see you guys. I will keep whatever council up here is in, I'm not saying in check, but I will keep them accountable, is the best way to say it, and I will always demand transparency. I will leave this place with less power, with more knowledge, and I believe the knowledge is more important than the power sometimes, especially the network I've been able to build up with the local community. With that said, I will be, like you said, I have ideas. I will be handing some stuff off to Brian that I've talked to you about, and he will present it to you. If I said even when I'm off of here, I will be trying to help the community and the residents any way I can. One thing that I found a little late, but was brought to my attention a little late that I will hand off to you, is this binder, and I'll explain to you in a second. On Veterans Day this year, I spent 2.5 hours at the William J. Woods home. I expected something completely different than what I experienced there, and what I saw, experienced, and what I heard did not leave me with a happy tune, to put it bluntly. On-site services have been shut off at that location, and it's not been for a day or two. It's been for a while. There is some reasoning. I've gotten you paperwork on there. The vans that are there, I've been told, have not been utilized to take vets to services, which is another big concern of mine. I'd be curious to know what the maintenance logs and gas records are for those vehicles. Families have been evicted. I thought it was just veterans. It's veterans and families. There's 10-year-olds who are there. And I was told, this one is unsubstantiated because I have not found out, that someone was recently evicted for $400 in late fees. When people come into that place, they sign over vouchers to make sure that money is passed through to the company or the business that runs the operation. There's been deaths. There is probably at least 6 or 7 files I have in there of people who have passed away in that location. One of them was found almost 2 weeks after they passed away. So I have some real concerns about how the veterans in that facility are being taken care of. There's a complaint about L&I in the elevator, and there's a few other small items that I find to be concerning. But one of the things that really got me on the way out is it's Veterans Day. As I'm walking out, I'm looking at the bulletin board that they have there. And on the bulletin board it says, Happy Veterans Day. In remembrance of veterans, the staff will be taking the day off. Not a single thing happened for any single bloody vet in that location that whole day, other than me swinging by and saying hi and getting an earful. My time is up. You have 4 years. I've given you that. I will shoot out an email to also stand up on the documents I've given to you, to everybody else. But I would like you to get to the bottom of it. Either we have some vets with super mental issues that are not being addressed the way they need to be, or we have a manager that needs to be taken care of. And I'll leave it that bluntly, too. With that, appreciate the time. One of the items I did not bring up, and it was my 4th agenda item, was term limits and strong mayors. I'm still going to watch you guys and see if it's worthwhile or not in the future. With that said, I'm going to say Happy Thanksgiving, and then I'm going to leave with a quote. Since some people were making poems earlier, I'm going to leave with a quote. When I was in D.C. on one of the NLC events, I was able to go to the Jefferson Memorial. And inside the Jefferson Memorial, written on the top, is a quote, and I'm going to repeat it. I have sworn upon the altar of God eternal hostility against every form of tyranny over the mind of men. That is my motto. That is what I believe. I don't care. I'll use mankind. It's not just man. It's anything. But anytime anybody tries to put a tyranny over the mind, not the body, the mind, I will be there to fight. So I just want to let you guys know that I've appreciated everything, and thank you guys all for your time.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much. And we'll look into this. Thank you very much.
Oh,
appreciate it. Thank you. And we'll get back to you on what we know, what's within our jurisdiction, and we'll try to figure out jurisdictional lines on this. Brian, let's talk about this tomorrow, okay? And it's actually tabbed out and all kinds of things, and there's some police reports and some other items. So, and Keith, there's a thing about the elevators. I want to make sure that well, let's make sure, Brian and I will go over this tomorrow, and then we'll assign out, we'll try to figure out where the jurisdictional lines are. So thank you very much. That is a sad day, that is the William J. Wood Veterans Home, and they did nothing for their veterans on Veterans Day, and that hurts to hear.
Well, I'll add one more. The bathrooms, the public bathrooms are all locked all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
The service rooms for services, for education, all turned into storage rooms. I mean, I'm not going to say what I really feel.
Yeah. Well, and thank you for your service in serving our country and here as well. Okay, Councilmember Suffolk Dawson?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'll start off by also acknowledging and sharing my appreciation for Paul. Paul, it's been a great pleasure sitting by you and just our side conversations. But more importantly, you really have challenged my thinking, and I appreciate you for that. You probably didn't plan on it, intended to be such. But there were things we disagreed on, but our disagreement were also very cordial and very with understanding. But one thing I really appreciate about you, and I've said it to you repeatedly, is that you were always curious and wanted to know more. There are things I've brought up to you that you have followed through, and I really just think it's honorable for you to do it. And your how you ask the youth about their books they like, and you actually either listen to them, read them, or you know something about those books. So I think that's also great that you are really seeking knowledge. And so thank you, and hopefully we can continue. I look forward to more dialogue with you, and see you in the community. About the Veterans House, I'm surprised, about what you said, but I remember Erica also bringing up a lot of concerns when she was on the council. So I think that's something that maybe the city could look into and see what could be done. I know it's not the city's jurisdiction, but still looking into it would be very helpful because, Paul, you're not the only person who raised concerns. She did bring up a lot about drug usage there and that nothing was being done about it. So maybe, Mayor, you could add that to your list of things you could inquire about. On a final note, I also want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone. And personally, I'm thankful for a new addition to my family. My son just had a baby a day ago, maybe, was it? And I'm really thankful for that. And new chapter of my life. So thank you so much for listening.
Oh, congratulations, and we will certainly look into the William J. Wood situation and report back to the full council and our council member. Council President Coachmar.
Well, thank you, and Paul, thank you. Paul was a Marine, as was my twin brother, and so you were taught to fight. I won't say you were taught to kill, but you were taught many things. And so thank you for fighting for the citizens of Federal Way. And I agree, I don't think our veterans are being taken care of here. And there is a veterans office right over by KOAM. I don't know if you know that, right around, but they're not helpful either. So I think that that falls under the federal government, but there's also a state government portion as well for veterans. And I'm sure that we could have code compliance look into issues at that building. And Councilmember Suffolk Dawson, you were right, Erica did bring that up about drug usage at that building.
Yep.
So while we're saying goodbye to Councilmember McDaniel, we will be saying goodbye to Councilmember Dovey and Councilmember Han-Tran at the next December 2nd council meeting. Hopefully we'll have cake for you as well. Not sure what kind, but cake. And we will, at that time, have Councilmember Martin Moore coming on board to be sworn in. And then in January, just so you have the sequence of events, in January, Mayor, you'll be swearing in also. Will you be doing it at that first meeting in January?
Yes.
Okay, and then we'll be having Council Member-elect Presumptive Hamilton and Les Sessoms at that meeting. So we have a lot of coming and going here, so trying to track everyone here. So thank you very much again, Paul, for your service. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Well, thank you. I hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving. And I don't know if we mentioned Vicki Chenoweth, but Vicki was present at the Veterans Day event as well, and thank you so much for all your work on that. It was a very special event. I really enjoyed it. And what a great, I'm really glad that we were able to sort of get a do-over on the Flag Day event and combine it all. So thank you so much. It was a great event for the community. I hope everybody has a very safe and happy Thanksgiving. Thank you very much to our staff, who did a great job at this meeting and every meeting. And thank you for everybody who participated. We're adjourned.